Following the recent attack on the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Joe Ajaero, the NLC and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) yesterday summoned an extraordinary National Executive Council meeting, and the meeting revealed the modalities of the planned strike and assessed also the memorandum of understanding signed between the federal government and the organized labor that was on the 2nd of October this year, following the removal of subsidy on PMS. Now, the labor unions had earlier issued a 5-day ultimatum to the government following the arrest of Joe Ajaero by the police in Owerri, Imo State, on Wednesday, the 7th of November. The unions demanded the immediate redeployment of the state's Commissioner of Police and the arrest and prosecution of the government aide allegedly involved in the attack. If these demands are not met, according to the union, within the stipulated time frame, the labor centers threatened to embark on a nationwide industrial action. Well, according to reports circulating, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has already bowed to pressure asserted by the NLC, and they have directed the reassignment of the Commissioner of Police in Imo State in the person of CP Mohammed Bade, and he has been reassigned to special duties at the force headquarters. Anyways, in case you haven't been following this story, Ajaero was brutally assaulted during a statewide protest in Imo State last week, and of course this sparked a bit of outrage and condemnation from various quarters. Now, as a follow-up to this, Labour have actually declared nationwide strike starting from Tuesday, the 14th of November 2023, and the two unions, that's the NLC and the TUC, reached this resolution after the extraordinary executive council meeting that they held in Abuja yesterday. Also, Labour orders indefinite shutdown of power supply and flights to Imo State. All right, the organized labor, they have ordered the shutdown of electricity and fuel supplies in Imo State, and they also directed aviation workers to ensure that flights into and outside the state are suspended. This is part of the decisions that were taken at the meeting yesterday. All right, so gentlemen, let's talk about this labor issue again. All right, so we've had a situation where labor has been off and on, you know, calling for strike, and then maybe a few hours into the strike, they'll, you know, step back again and say the government promised, and then they'll come back again after a few days and then threaten to go on strike again. But then here we are again. Now, the assault on the president of the NLC is on one hand, all right? Now, the union now calling for a nationwide strike, all right? People are questioning the intentions on social media. Is this strike supposed to be for the interest of Nigerians, or is Labour now calling a strike because their president was brutalized? Is this strike supposed to be to address personal matters now, or for the good of the entire country? I'll start with you, Mr. Digbenro.
Well, it was two different things. Truly, it was different. The one that they've proclaimed yesterday for Imo State today was basically on the uncivilized manner and brutality of the president. And
okay,
I joined them in that particular manner, irrespective of any name you want to call Ajaero, whatever, anything that you think he has done. Being brutalized is criminal in nature, and it shows the kind of people we have in the corridor of power. The commissioner of police that was pushed back to Abuja needs a lot of questions to answer. Then the head of the governor that was alleged to have been part of it needs to be called to question. And Heidi has done the right thing, at least to be able to create a level playground, because the man has been pointed into a lot of things. Even in his hand has been in different governorship elections also that people have already talked out. So he has done the right thing, but they need to investigate. It's Ajaero today. It could be me tomorrow. It could be you tomorrow. You don't have right to brutalize anybody in the name of anything. That one is one. Then two, shutting down Imo State, especially the electricity and the flights. Labour has a right. You can't beat if they didn't do that. Automatically it could be anybody within their workers. So if they are doing that for Imo, that one is for Imo. Then for the one they are proposing on the 14th next week, what they are looking at is on their own discussion they've been having on the issue of what they put on ground. Since the increment in pump price, that the discussion they're having with government will promise and they will not do anything to it. They talk about some certain things they need to give to the workers. And mind you, I always say it everywhere I go. NLC is not representing all Nigerians. NLC, TUC, they are representing only their members. They are pressure groups. They are representing their members. Don't sit down at home. You are not a member of NLC. You are not a member of TUC. Whatever they are fighting for, you could see the mirage or what way that could come to your side, but they are not fighting for you. So you should be able to know if some people will say, are they fighting for Labour, NLC, TUC, they are fighting only for their members. What of the Yalata? I know there are some of the affiliations that are affiliated to TUC, but are they going to benefit from any increment in salary? Are they going to in their wages or any monument they want to create for them? But what is important there is that we have a government that will sit down with Labour and they will perfect it. Okay, this is what we are going to do. At the end of the day, the government is not only about this Tinubu government, Buhari's government, the same thing, Jonathan government, the same thing. Why our people in government will do and have a debate with these people? Okay, this is what we want to do. At the end of the day, nothing
will not go through.
Going on strike is the fundamental right of the Nigerian Labour Congress.
All right, so I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Adegbenro, and address the issue of Labour not fighting for the interest of all Nigerians. I need clarity on that issue. But let me come to you, Prince Chilaka. This proposed nationwide strike by Labour, how do you view it? Seeing that, going by sentiments expressed online, it looks like a lot of Nigerians are cold, you know, towards the labor unions we have right now. They seem to have lost a lot of credibility. How do you view the impending strike?
You know, labor of today, the labor led by Ajero and co, is not like the typical labor we've had in recent past. Unfortunately, I would say that successive governments have learned how to cage, manage, deceive, cajole labor into doing what they want. If you remember when we had labor unions fighting military government, you will understand what labor stands for. But today, you know, you just have labor. You know, you just have people who are showcasing themselves on television, making all manner of threats. You know, you don't allow something to cool down before you take action, and that is where Nigerians are really upset. Nigerians are saying, when government said subsidy is gone, and the hardship started immediately, that is when people wanted labor to react. Maybe at that time, the government would have had a second thought. Because to be fair to labor and to be fair to Nigerians, Mr. President did not think through the implications of that statement he made. Mr. President did not realize that being the president of this country, his word means power. It has authority. He didn't think about it, because if he did, I'm telling you, he wouldn't have said what he said on national TV. What I expected Mr. President to say at that point is to say, good, we're going to look at this. We're going to sit down with my economic team. We're going to look at it. We're going to meet with various stakeholders and take a decisive decision. But no. Today, this afternoon, I mean, while driving here this morning, I bought petrol at 610 naira. So the filling stations are gradually, daily increasing
their
prices
yeah.
without, they don't want it to feel it much, but they're all going up every day. And then the irony of it is that all the designated NNPCL filling stations are not selling. The ones that are selling have very long queues because they're selling at 568 naira or so. So for me, yes, if labor is serious, like my colleague just said, the labor we have today is not even fighting for all Nigerians. Labor is fighting for its own members. And these members are those who are working for government, so to say. Because whatever decisions labor is reaching with government, it does not in any way affect private companies and private individuals.
It doesn't impact.
It doesn't.
On Nigerians who are not working for government.
Working,
okay.
Yes.
All
so
right.
for me, I am in support of the strike, okay. Even though it's long overdue. I'm in support of it. And then coming to, we need to draw a line. We need to understand what's going on. The strike in Imo State is different from the national strike. Unfortunately, a lot of media houses are trying to put it together and try to confuse Nigerians. No, don't confuse Nigerians.
It's not a matter of confusion. It's looking like
it's not.
It's looking like what happened in Imo State is what is, pushing labor to finally go on a nationwide
Labor is
strike.
very clear on their stand in Imo State, and they're very clear on their stand on the national level. They have said that Imo State, the strike started today. That's what they said. And I'm in support of that. I don't believe in violence. And we cannot keep having governors who have aides, who have no respect for Nigerians. We can't have police commissioners who have no respect for Nigerians. They have become they become weapons in the hands of governors. This should not be encouraged at all. If you are aide to a governor, you have no right to order a police commissioner.
All right, we'll come back to this issue of labor, whether or not they are fighting for Nigerians. Well, Mr. Tanner, please, what's your view on this proposed nationwide strike by labor? Is it going to help much, if at all?
Well, I will start like this. Let's find the genesis of this strike. You know, I learned that the industrial court asked both the Imo government and labor to maintain status quo. I think the labor should respect the law. They may be thinking that should be the government doesn't even respect law. So why are we? The two wrongs cannot make a right. Secondly, the Imo labor union said that they were not going to go on strike. That's what I learned. That's what that's what the media gave to us. That they are ready to discuss with the government.
Okay.
Until Ajero came from Abuja, and ironically, Ajero is also from Imo. And don't forget, election is about few days to come now. No governor, even a lame duck, no governor will ever open his eyes and see the coming election disrupted and fold his arms. Especially when he is also a contender in the off-season. But then, is that any justification to have brutalized a union president? What we heard is that, you know, when Ajero flew into Imo, the what do you call it? All these area boys. I'm striking that out. We can't have non-factual stories or anything. That's what you heard. It is not a fact. It's not a fact. Let's move on, Mr. Tanner. Let's go on. Let's move on. Let him land. Let him land. Go ahead. Go ahead. You are not in Imo. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now, when Ajero came, let's not go back to that story. Okay. Move on, sir. When Ajero came, okay. These people. Move beyond the story, sir. Okay, Mr. Tanner. Thank you, sir. The police told us that they were trying to defend Ajero. Okay. Being mobbed. Yes, we heard the police say that. So, look, the police people, they are exonerating their members, their officers. They are not the person. The Imo State government too is saying that, you know, they are not my people that attacked the Ajero. Who attacked Ajero? I think Ajero should know the people who attacked him. I don't understand. You know, either the police is exonerating his members. The government too, they are saying, you know, they are not our members. Okay. All right. Now let me come in at this juncture. Now there are insinuations, all right, that now the NLC is being seen as partisan, and the way this is toying is beginning to look that way as well, all right? Especially, let's not forget the off-season election in Imo State
might be disrupted by the strike if it does happen. Okay, so my question is, should union activism be used to fight partisan politics?
Okay, let me start like this. There is a Supreme Court judgment that happened, I think it was last year. A civil servant has the right to involve in politics, but he will not contest.
Okay.
So, on that particular basis,
The answer is yes.
everybody
Okay.
can involve in politics according to, because it falls under fundamental human rights, which cannot be taken from anybody. That one is fine. So anybody that thinking because Ajero
Is a union
to
leader.
a
Okay.
particular person, Supreme Court are fine. Every Nigerian has the right to involve in politics. That one
Okay,
is
so
fine.
you can have political inclinations,
No, then two.
even as a, okay.
All these politicians, they know. All the governors, I stand to be corrected. Majority of their civil servants working in their state, by crook, by anything, they are member of the political party that the governor is doing. During the local government election, I have monitored local government election in this country very well. There are some certain staff of local government, they will sleep in that local government, they will prepare food for them because they are being mandated to register around that particular local government. As I'm talking, the member of local government, they know what I'm saying. Then two is this. Did you know how party logos of that state, the party ruling that state, the way they normally wear it, go to state television and radio station owned by that state, go and see the way the program is being done, go and see the number of advert slots being given to the ruling party in that state. You compare it to others.
As against the opposition.
So one thing that is here is this.
Okay.
There is no justification for brutality of the national president of NLC. Even if not him, ordinary Nigerian. Then two, Inspector General of Police. If it doesn't affect the Commissioner of Police, he won't move. Because you can't force Inspector General of Police to move a commissioner. That one is one. Then two is this. Ajero is not lame. He's not blind. He has got, in fact, his secretary, national secretary, say it from lightly. Yoruba used to say, Agbonse, Ikamudunse, Oju Olokore, Kudu Kudu. If police is lying to us, Imo State government is lying to us, and we all saw Ajero, saw his face being swelled up, is he through makeup? Another thing again is this, that people don't note. It is Ajero today. It can be, if we don't need the act of brutality, we said people should not mob people. There is no mob anywhere. We saw when he was coming to Imo, we saw all the safe charters, how they wore uniform, where they welcome him from the airport, down to the labor house. So all the person saying mob, it was taken live, it was streamed live,
Okay.
and we are watching it.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go back to Imo State. Let's go back to the strike in Imo State. Now, quite unfortunately, but very true, is the fact that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. All right, so electricity supply is completely cut off in Imo State, no fuel supply, and there are no flights in and out of the state, and all of that. This is going to affect the local indigents.
Yes.
Who run businesses in Imo State, who have nothing to do with whether Uzodinma paid salaries or didn't pay salary, which is one of the reasons why this strike is on anyways, all right? Now, how do you justify the strike action? You know, when you see that it's the innocent ones who are going to be the most impacted.
In every society where there has been a strike, who suffers loss? It's the ordinary people. And at the end of the day, who benefit most from the success of it is still the same ordinary people. You're talking about, everybody just busy talking about, flights. How many poor Igbos, how many poor people in Imo State are entering flights? Have you traveled from Lagos to the east? Where are the roads? Where is the road that Ugo Uzodinma himself has built in Imo State? What are the infrastructures he has built in Imo State? You hear us sit at home every Monday. What has he done about it as a governor? When you kill the livelihood, the source of livelihood of the ordinary people. So you see, if what it will take for governance in this country to wake up, strike, and protest, I am all for it. The suffering in the land is out of reach. People are beginning to sell their cars, sell their clothes, sell everything to just be alive in this country. Is it a crime to be a Nigerian? Is it a crime? We need to begin to ask ourselves questions. The National Assembly is asking Nigerians, be patient with us. The federal government is saying, be patient with us. You're buying car of 130 million naira for one person. You're buying car of 160 million naira for one person. You're budgeting 2.5 million naira to buy cars for the office of the wife of the president. What is going on in this country? How long will the ordinary Nigerians continue to pay for the luxurious life of the political class? So, for me, what is happening in Imo State is not about whether they're cutting light, whether they're stopping airlines. How many people have money to buy petrol to run their journey in Imo State? People are really suffering. And those who are leading us must understand that it is time for them to think as if there is no
Thank you,
boss.
Ms. Chilaka. Mr. Tanner, please. How do we even come into this matter? How do we mediate anymore? Because what we've seen in recent times is the federal government meeting with Labour, and then they come out, they reach an MOU, and then they go back on that, and then Labour comes back again, another agreement, and then they renege on that, and then we come. It's like a yo-yo game now, all right, back and forth and all of that. How do we even take Labour serious anymore, all right? Seeing that maybe before the 14th of November, this strike might be called off, yeah.
It's very unfortunate. Labour, people have been viewing them as children, as if they are playing cards, because they will go back, renege, the government will renege on their promises. At the end of the day, they will just say, we've been thinking about it, or we've suspended our strike. What I'm saying is that, however the whole thing may be, they still need to come back to the table. Let them sit down on the round table and debate about it. There is nothing they can do without sitting down and understand themselves. If they don't sit down and understand themselves, Labour will continue to deceive us. And Labour, I won't tell you, I was saying that people in Nemo, make sure you buy, you stockpile your with food stuff, and where is the money to stockpile? When you are not even paying the minimum wage, when some states are still paying less than 20,000 naira. Many. So where do you get the money to stockpile food? Talk less of other amenities. They will continue to deceive us. I'm very sorry, the beautiful ones are not yet born. Just like that my novelist said. Because gone are the days of real labor unionism. The time of Adam Oshiomhole, the time of even the past
Kokori?
Those are you can't compare Kokori. It's even white.
Thank you for bringing that up, because now at the table we are saying Labour is not fighting for all Nigerians. In the past,
yes,
if an Adam Oshiomhole-led Labour declares strike,
wow,
everybody, whether you work for government or not, you will sit at home. So how do you now say Labour? Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
It's not fighting for all Nigerians anymore. What changed?
They've bastardized everything. They've labor unionism has entered into politics. The two are fused together now. Most of these politicians enter into labor through the back door because some politicians sponsor them, and he who pays the piper dictates the tune. When I send you to represent your union, you must you must hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm telling you. So because of that, like in Imo State, now I learned that their union chairman, that is what that was sponsored by the governor. So that is why the man even said, look,
Not a statement of fact.
no, it's not. Okay.
It's
The
not a
man said we are
statement
not
of
going on
fact.
strike. It came out that we'll be thinking about, we are not ready to go on strike. Before
Okay.
Ajero came to. So you can see the disparity there. there's a sort of disparity.
Well, we've always had Labour that had factions, all right, so that's okay. They've always had factions. So.
But they cannot fight a common goal.
I get what you mean, you know, when they are not united in their own house. I understand what you're saying. All right, so gentlemen, my question is, if today's Labour is not fighting for all Nigerians, only for their members, who is fighting for the average poor Nigerian then? Who?
Let me tell you, even from the time of immemorial, Nigerian Labour Congress has never fought for all Nigerians. Don't let us deceive ourselves. Even from the time of Pa Imodu, what they do is that it's just that the wave of the happenings will affect ordinary Nigerians. It's not that, look, in definition, they call Nigeria Labour Congress. If you are not a labor, if you are not a worker, are they fighting for you? No, are you your member? They have deductions, they deduct from people's salary. They don't deduct from me because I'm not their member. NURTW is a union. I'm not their member. Can they dictate for me? No. The same thing is applicable, but the only thing at that time is this. During the time of the military, we are fighting a common front. Everybody united. But from 1999, what has happened is that politicians, they know how to use divide and rule. Oshiomhole that you just talked about, where did Oshiomhole ended to? He ended up to be governor of Edo State. Okay. But he was not seeing that agenda when he was the president of the Labour. So, just to let you know, politicians have divided them. Then another thing again is this. I just want to tell Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC, the president they are dealing with, they don't know. If they know the president they are dealing with, they're supposed to go and factor their own work. Number one thing they should go and do, that order they put at that whatever, because now industrial court is now becoming mama put. Anytime they go there, court, they will just go and get order. What you just need to go to the Federal Court of Appeal, quench that particular order. It's not perpetual order. Quench is number one. Then number two is this: before you go on strike, tidying your own seat very, very well, because this present government, they know how to handle that kind of things, and they have the machineries, and that's why you will see a situation where there are some certain member of the union is going to be saying no and yes. When Ajero was coming to Imo, where was the NLC chairman in that state? He was part of that. He also wore uniform. This the same man. Welcome him. The one thing that is important here is that it is a high point that the ordinary Nigerians, the only way, because we don't have a united front, we are not a member of NUC, we don't have common fronts. The common front should be, we should rally around the media. Don't forget, one of the 4 functions of journalists is one: to educate, to inform, to entertain, correlation of fact, and stand as a voice of the voiceless. It is important that other Nigerians, poor Nigerians, should rally around journalists and the media to be their voice. Because if they think if NLC and TUC is fighting for them, if they give, let's say, they increase minimum wage now, the only thing you can do is that the alloters and co, they will wait for those people collecting salary. At least you go to buy food, they will be waiting for you. Landlord is going to be waiting for you. You pay rent, it will increase it. That is the only thing. But if you want people to really fight on, and that is what the media has been doing, because what is important here is that minimum wage 30,000. I stand to be corrected. I've said this severally. There is no state in Nigeria. 36 states. No, we have 37 states because Supreme Court has said that
Abuja is not a state.
Abuja is a state. So now, out of all the states, there is none that is paying 30,000 minimum wage. What I mean is this: the parameter of 30,000 for the last, they did
doesn't
not
go
use it for
through
the
also.
so
Okay.
Let me quickly add this.
And please also throw some light for clarity on what is actually happening in Imo State that has led to this point. Go ahead.
I more light now.
You know, you see, the thing is, let's when you want to digest into what is happening in Imo State, it's not something that started today.
Yeah.
It started from the very day the Supreme Court proclaimed number 4 position to number 1 position. And then I keep asking myself, what kind of Supreme Court do we have in this country today? We have a Supreme Court that seems to be rewriting on a daily basis the one document that holds us together, which is the 1999 Constitution. And I'm one of those who have said that that document, it's high time we shred that document. That document does not represent the interest of all Nigerians. It does not. If that document represents the interest of all Nigerians, we should be asking, what is the social contract between the Nigerian people and the government? What's the social contract? We hear that children are supposed to have free education from primary to secondary and half of tertiary, as in the Constitution. Where are the public schools? So the problem in Imo State is such that the people from day one did not welcome Hope Uzodinma. And then he became a governor that refused to unite the people. If you remember, there was a young man that was arrested, dragged to police, dragged to DSS for calling him the Supreme Court governor. So the people are not happy. And that is the truth. And because the people are not happy, there is nothing Hope will do that will please the people.
Even if it's the right thing.
Even if it's the right thing. So Hope needs to go back to the drawing board.
At this point?
Well, that is the only way. I'm following him. He says, no, I'm following him. Okay, here he says go. They must keep. No, he says they must keep negotiating. They must keep negotiating.
Yeah, so
but you see, we need to tell ourselves the truth. We need to be very honest ourselves in this country. He has said something about labor, which I totally agree. What has bastardized labor is when private businesses started stopping their workers from forming union and joining the mainstream. And Labour Congress kept quiet. And that is why you go to some companies run by some foreigners, you see the way they maltreat Nigerians. They treat them as half humans.
Nobody to fight for them.
Nobody to fight for them. So what Labour Congress needs to also do is to think, how do we get private businesses into labor? Let them, no matter how many they are, let them form a union that represents them. If we don't have this, we'll keep having this back and forth. Okay. And then the arbitration court, I don't understand. The arbitration court is turning like a police station, where the police officer will just go to any magistrate and get order to detain. It's not, I mean, the whole thing is that the ordinary Nigerians simply do not have a stake in the country called Nigeria.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so as we're speaking on the program, there are reports coming in that Labour has actually commenced strike in Imo State as we speak. All right, and just for clarity purposes, the NLC is protesting in Imo over massive abuse of workers' rights in that particular state. According to report, the governor hasn't paid salary in months. Amongst other things, all right? But then worrisome amongst them is the fact that government always reneges on its promises, all right? When you go into an MOU, that's a memorandum of understanding with somebody, you are supposed to see it through, all right? At least your side of it, all right? So far, the government hasn't kept up their own promises, and I don't know how we're going to sit down at the table again and talk, with the federal government, just like Mr. Tanner is proposing. But then let's see how it goes. The nationwide strike, according to Labour, will commence next week, Tuesday, the 14th of November.
Let me just quickly